Hi guys, how you going? Campbell here from Autodidactic Channel. Hope you're having a spectacular day. And today I wanted to have a look at Galveston in Texas. And this was actually left in a comment in one of my videos asking me to have a look at Galveston, Texas, because there was actually a huge tornado that went through Galveston in 1900 and pretty much destroyed the place. And when I had a look at the pictures, that's really sort of what caught my eye. Here's a picture. This is inland. This is a boat, obviously. I'm not sure what that is, but can you see all this wood? This is all wood, and that's what really caught my eye. Is look at this. This is all wood. And we're going to have a look at some of the buildings in Galveston, and they don't seem to be made of wood. So let's just jump in and have a bit of a look and see if we can figure out what is going on here. Okay, so here we are again on Wikipedia, and it says the history of Galveston, Texas begins with the archaeological record of Native Americans who used the island. The first European settlements on the island were constructed around 1816. The port of Galveston was established in 1825 by the Congress of Mexico, following its successful revolution from Spain. The city served as the main port for Texas Navy during the Texas Revolution. Galveston was founded in 1835 by Matthew Sabo and served as the capital of the Republic of Texas. The Battle of Galveston was fought in Galveston Bay during the American Civil War, when Confederate forces under Major General John B. Magruder attacked and expelled occupying Union troops from the city. So there we go, just a short history. So Galveston's an island. It was founded, as a city. They put their flags down in 1836, but basically first European settlements were on the island in 1816 is what they are telling us. Okay, so Galveston, they say the first European settlements, 1816, founded in 1836. And here we have a picture. This is the first post office in Galveston, and it is dated 1836. So this, just 1 year after foundation and 20 years, they're telling us. This was constructed within 20 years of the first European settlements being built. Now, up here it does say that Cabeza de Vaca and his crew washed ashore Galveston Island in 1528. They were the first European settlers in what would become the state of Texas. In 1685, French explorer La Salle visited the area, and in 1817, pirate Lean Lafitte had a base on the island. So that's basically it. So people had been there, but yeah, no civilization, no towns or buildings or anything, just, a pirate hideout. And they don't really mention the natives there. They do mention them that they were there, but obviously not much said. But this is, again, I don't have a date on this, but we can see the cars here. So this is, sort of 1920s or so, less than 100 years after the first, European, so-called, stepped on the island, and we have this completely built-out street, just like we see everywhere else. It's just such a familiar sight. This, 1858, the first customs house. Okay, now again, look at these buildings. Do these look like they're made of wood, or do these look like they're made of brick and masonry? Because I'm going with brick and masonry. We've got the columns here, we've got the balustrades, big brick walls, lintels, it's this one here, wood, yeah, for sure. And look at the size difference as well. Obviously there's some perspective, but it looks like this, the top of this pitched roof is not even as high as the top of this flat roof. And then we have this. Of course, this is a complete mud flutter. And down here we have the first bank, again another mud flutter. And what do you think, wood or masonry? Because I'm thinking that looks like a red bricker. This is another photo. This is Galveston, first opera house, 1870. So again, 1870, what's that, 34 years after being founded as a city. And we have this, and again, what do you think, wood or masonry? Again, look at this. I mean, this is just, you know, the classic, right? Classic style that we see everywhere. 1884. First building built solely for a newspaper. Well, there you go. And of course, next to it, you know, butted right up against it, we've got another masonry building. And then down here, and this, horse and cart. So we're looking at the turn of the century. This is a very nice mud flutter. 1884, the first coloured high school. Oh. Okay. I guess that was from segregation times. And, oh my gosh, look at this one. That's an awesome looking building. This is First Medical College, 1886. And again, what do you think? Wood, brick, masonry. Look at these pillars, aren't they cool? I mean, that's, and look at the antenna, Antiquitech. Oh, that's nice. Again, okay, these, of course, are mud flutters. Look at that. Oh my God, look at this place. Look at that. Look at this place. Completely built out. And these are, you know, that's a 4-story building above ground. And again, what do you think? Wood or masonry? Wood or red brick? Because that was the first school for nurses, 1890. So all of this has been put up, so founded 1836. Okay, so we're talking within 55 years of it being founded, and within 65 years, is that right? 75 years of the first Europeans turning up on the island. We've got this, and this is just one street. And we have this as well. I mean, look at this. The whole street built out. 1867. Okay? I mean, come on. That's 31 years after it was founded. And we have this. And again, I ask you, is that brick or is that wood? Oh my gosh, I haven't even looked at these pictures. Look at this one. 1894. Got our horse and buggy. Built 1847. Okay, so this was constructed, guys, 11 years after the city was founded, and what would that make it? 31 years after the first Europeans turned up. You know, just on the boat, with nothing, no industry there. So how did they get the bricks across here? Where was the industry to make the bricks, to make the glass, to make the metal, to make everything, to mill the wood? You know, where did all the RT, you know, it's the same old questions. These things just go up so quickly. Here we go, 1871. The first public library, of course, you know, of course. It's always the same buildings, aren't they? They're always, you know, the schools, the libraries, the government houses, the post offices. Okay, here's another shot. This is First African American Hospital, 1904. So obviously Galveston, I guess we're in the South in the 1800s with all that story about slave trading and things. But look at these buildings. That looks like a red bricker to me. You know, look at this dome. Oh, that's the one that we saw before, I think, from the other side. 1904, they're saying this one. So this one must have been after the hurricane, because there's a hurricane we're going to have a look at. That was in 1900. Okay, but I'm just showing you this to show you the buildings, and, you know, apart from the fact that they seem to have been built very, very quickly, when there's supposed to be no industry or anything there, they all seem to be brick and masonry. Okay, I'm pretty sure that one's not wood. Pretty sure that's masonry. Okay, so this, the first parochial school, 1847, guys. They whipped that up in 11 years since the founding, or 31 years since they arrived with nothing. That just whipped it up. I mean, look at the size. I mean, that would be, I reckon that'd easily be the size of a 6-7 story building, the height of that. And look how big it is. It's got this wing out here. 1847. And again, you know, what do you think? Brick or wood? Okay, and here's another ton of buildings. 1842, 1854, 1854, 1856, 1872, 1878. 1898, 1913, 1836. I mean, it's just silly. 1847, 57, 56. You know, all these buildings. And again, what do they look like? Okay, so here we are on Click America, the Galveston hurricane of 1900. See how the Texas city was destroyed by the killer storm and flood. So now this is clearly a wooden building, a wooden house, and it's kind of sideways. And okay, that's a very interesting shot. Look at this, all this wood. Now, I don't know, are they wooden? I mean, they look like they could be wood, I don't know, but why are these standing? And look at the devastation around them. How come there's only 4 houses left? So thousands of men, women and children swept to their sudden death, millions of dollars worth of property destroyed, scenes of suffering and desolation that beggar description, heroic efforts to save human life, the world shocked by the appalling news. Such is the thrilling story of the Galveston flood. And here we have an ad, 129 ways to get a husband. Truly terrible tips from the 1950s. That's great. There have been many disasters by storm and flood in modern times, but none to equal this. In the brief space of 12 hours, more people lost their lives than were killed during a year of war between the British and the Boers, or during a year and a half of war in the Philippines. The calamity came suddenly. Galveston was not aware of its impending fate. News of an approaching cyclone produced no alarm. Suddenly word was sent that the hurricane was bending from its usual course and may strike the city. Even then there was no sudden fear, no hurrying to escape, no thought of swift destruction. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, the city woke up to an awful fact that it was to be engulfed by a tidal wave and buried in the flood of waters. So there we go. Okay, so here are some pics of the destruction after the tornado and the tidal wave. And again, look at this. This is just a mountain of wood. Obviously, you know, tidal wave, that's why it's all sort of pushed in, you know, sort of into a pile. These in the background, obviously, you know, this is a brick building, but those early pictures that we were looking at, it looked like, you know, the whole city was made of masonry. You know, and look at this building. That's that one that we saw before. I've forgotten. That was the first, what was it? The religious school. I can't remember the name of what they called it. But that, look at this wood. Again, this has been, they're saying it's a tidal wave, so, you know, that's why it's all been pushed up. But where did it all come from? Because all these buildings look masonry to me. And if we're talking 1900, we're talking, what, 74 years after they founded the city, and 94 years, so less than 100 years after the first Europeans, you know, rocked up and created any type of settlement, basically. So where did all these wooden houses come from? Because there is an awful lot of wood. Like, I mean, you can see there's like half houses and stuff in here as well. Like, they got completely smashed. But this is the question, and I've noticed this, that there's lots of wood houses You know, I definitely notice it more in America. The terrace houses, and you know, a lot of them tend to be sort of 2-3 stories, and they're clearly wood. So yeah, it's just something I wanted to show is all this wood, because you know, we talk so much about red brick and the big old masonry buildings, and they're all mud flooded, and you know, they're clearly solid, very old buildings. But then we do get these wooden buildings, and they are smaller as far as level size, and they tend to be made of wood. You see a lot of them in like San Francisco and places like that. Now that's clearly what was here. So where did all the wooden houses come from? Who was building them? Because again, they're not shacks. They're not like shanty shacks. These are very well made buildings. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, it just caught me that there's so much wood here. So much. And like clearly this is masonry. Look at that. The whole front's been smashed out of it, but that's clearly a brick building. Brick building, brick building, brick building. This one's had its roof ripped off. You know, so what are we talking here? Is there more than one civilization that's built? You know, are the brick buildings older and the wood buildings have come later? Why were they building with wood if they didn't have to? And you know, when did they build these? Because you know, we know the story about you know, the treeless landscapes and things that people were finding. Obviously, you know, there was a lot of wood as well. There's lots of redwood and stuff up in California. But yeah, I'm just wondering, what timeline wise, who built all these really nice wooden houses? And because clearly, like, there were a lot here, but clearly there was also buildings like this everywhere. Look at that. And you can see out the back here, there's brick buildings everywhere. Big brick buildings. So yeah, are we talking more than one sort of civilization here? I don't know. Random thoughts. Here we go. Whoops, look at this. Look at that. This has got a Moorish, what we sort of term Moorish kind of brickwork. Looks like some kind of capacitor or something. And of course, Galveston also had a bathhouse on the beach, which I'm starting to notice every star city had, every city. Let's just start calling them cities, I guess. Yeah, same thing, big double entrance. You know, you see these things everywhere, though this one does seem to be missing its domes. This looks like it's been refabbed, but yeah, everywhere, these bathhouses. No doubt you'll find one in the city that you live in. There's even one that was in Perth, and I am going to get to that video soon. I've been meaning to do it for months. So, bathhouses everywhere. And look at this, look at this power pole, just right in the sand near the water. Why not? And I also found this. This is called the Electric Park in Galveston in Texas. And as we can see, this one here, this picture is, does that say 1627? Okay, I thought that was a date. Yeah, this place, they're telling us opened in 1905. Now, there is very little on this. I really can't find much at all. Definitely no construction pictures. Definitely, there's no narrative on who built it, why it was built, how it got there. It just appeared, and they just really say that, you know, electricity was just invented, so they went and built this park. And yeah, so 1905, so electricity is still fairly new. So basically Edison patented the first usable light bulb, 1879, and then the narrative says he went straight into building infrastructure, as far as, you know, electrical substations and wiring and things, and that was done in the 1880s. And so, yeah, 25 years after he started out on that, with no infrastructure at all, we've got this electric park out on a pier on the beach in Texas, or on an island off Texas, Galveston. And these are some pictures. This place got turned into a pier in World War I think it was World War One, it may have been World War Two. And so now it's an amusement park on a pier. This is an old, it's not a very good photo, but just to show you this huge bunker booth thing here. And this thing was definitely electric. Now, I'm not even sure what this picture is. But obviously, lights, electricity, it looks like something spinning. You can see electric park. Is this, I don't know. Is it spinning with something coming out of it? It's a bit hard to see what that is. Okay, it's on this big pole. Okay. Or not pole, this big, stand. And it just looks like a big light UFO spinning around. Here is the entrance, of course, with the two pillars. And that actually looks a lot like Luna Park. There's 2 Luna Parks in Australia, and there's other ones around the world. And in Australia, they look like this. They've got 2 pillars, but this bit here has been changed into a big open mouth and a face on top of it. And this, kind of looks like a face. I was going some last night at Electric Park in Galveston. So there you go. That was someone's postcard. Back, haven't got a date, but that would be, early 1900s. So here's a few more pics. Like I said, there's not a lot on this. We have the old chain ride. And again, with these amusement parks, have you noticed that they're always full of adults? There's no children there, yet today, amusement parks are built more for children or teenagers. And it's kind of like these adults are a bit childlike. Maybe they're just new to this realm. Not sure what's going on, and they're being taken out for a day at the amusement park. Because there's lots of video, and you see them going down slides and things, and they're having the time of their life. This is the entrance. I'm not sure if this is Galveston, because the thing is, like I said, there's not a lot on Galveston, but these electric parks, there was actually lots and lots of them. So here, this is Electric Park in Kansas City. These things were just popping up all over the place. Kansas City again, so again on the ocean. This one, Electric Park, that's Kansas as well. So there was actually quite a few of these electric parks all over the place. Here's another one of Galveston. Everyone enjoying the fair. Early 1900s. And if you come here to Wikipedia, electric parks, you'll see this list. Okay, while date and locations of the first electric park is currently unknown. Well, that's a shock, isn't it? Several existed before 1900. Since then, dozens of amusement parks have acquired the same name. So several before 1900. I mean, that is, in the narrative, that's pretty early. Just 20 years after Edison had the idea to start putting infrastructure in, they're building amusement parks running on electricity. And just, I did find this picture. This is Galveston, and this is the electric station. Unfortunately, that's the biggest pic I can get. But yeah, that's apparently the electric station that was running Galveston. Completely old red brick building, but it's just in this desolate sort of wasteland. So this is, the narrative. It's like, oh yeah, they just, invented electricity, then they just whacked up this, electric power substation, within 20 years, because they knew how to do that and how to get, they'd only just really got onto electricity, but yeah, they knew how to whack these huge factories up to produce electricity and then run all the wires and all the other bits of infrastructure needed to get electricity out, to the people first, but then, to the park, because the park it's not essential, is it? So if you've got electricity and you can use it for storing food, with cool in fridges and things, you'd think that would be more essential than building an electric park. Because this thing would have sucked quite a bit of electricity, especially back in the day. But yeah, here we have all these different electric parks. And you find the same thing when you look for like Luna Parks, and another common name is trolley parks, I think they were called. And, you know, all these weird narratives. Oh, yeah, they just started building them because electricity was invented. Or they just started building them because there was a tram system someone put in and they didn't have enough people to ride their trams. So they built one out to this, you know, remote beach and built a huge theme park there just to get people to ride their trams, their trolleys. So, you know, it's quite an interesting narrative that we're fed, isn't it? So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you a bit of Galveston, and then, of course, you know, this whole electric parks thing. It's a funny narrative, and it's been brought up by other people. Of course, John brought up the Ferris wheel, not the Ferris wheels, the merry-go-rounds, the carousels, how they look like big, you know, big motors. And also, obviously, well, he actually mentioned Ferris wheels in his video a few weeks ago, where there was a Ferris wheel in that city that I can't remember its name of in the Middle East. Again, you know, Ferris wheels, they look like big bits of machinery, don't they? So is this, you know, is this all something that's been repurposed? Is this all some kind of, I don't know, big machine? They're all on the water. Have they got, you know, these, I don't know, pumping stations for the stars? Because it really does look like they were all there beforehand, and they've just been repurposed. And just another quick thought on how this all happens is, you know, this was all done just after the populations were brought back in. So if you bring people into a certain place, basically you just, you know, they just live there. It's not like they're going to start walking around if they don't know where they are and they're just learning about the realm and this is it, this is your job, this is where you get food. They're not going to be out, you know, driving around, going down the beach, and basically they're not going to see all this other infrastructure that's already there. So the controllers just need to say, oh, look, we just built this. Now we've opened the tram line. Now you can go and play here. But they probably just found it and refurbished it. Changed its meaning, changed the names to protect the guilty. And here we are, 100 or so years later. But of course the veil is lifting. Today is what is today? It's the 9th of December 2020. So we're 12 days out from the December the 21st, which is a massive date. As above, so below, the dawning of the age of Aquarius, end of the Kali Yuga, the Mayan long count calendar. It's all happening, and it's also on a solstice. So big things are happening. Lots of electricity in the air. So thanks for spending some time with me, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. Stay positive, believe in yourself, create your own intention, and understand that this realm is just a show, just vying for our attention, and we get to choose where our attention goes. And when we do that, we get to choose the experiences that we bring to ourselves. And that is becoming more and more important as we get towards this date that has been prophesied for thousands of years. So thanks for spending some time with me. Have a spectacular day, and I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.